So today I want to talk about some of the things that I wish I had considered when I purchased my first gravel bike. If you are considering your first gravel bike purchase, there are a couple of things that you definitely want to take into consideration. So one of the things that you want to look at is the geometry of your bike. What do you want from your bike? Are you a rider that is interested in racing, in which case you want a gravel bike with more aggressive geometry? Catherine and I have been riding the Specialized Diverges for many years now. I wouldn't really call them racing bikes. They have a more relaxed geometry, and certainly for Catherine and myself, that relaxed geometry was really what we were looking for. We do participate in some cycling events, but we're really out there just to have fun. And the more relaxed geometry means that the ride is going to be a little smoother, a little easier on the body. And when you're in your 60s, that's kind of important. So look at geometry. Do you want a more aggressive, steeper angles, or do you want more relaxed, forgiving angles on your gravel bike? One of the things that I think I wish I had been more aware of was tire clearance. On our Specialized Diverges, we bought our bikes just before 2020, and on a 700C wheel, the biggest tire we could fit on our bikes was, I think, 40 or 42 millimeter tires. We bought 650B wheels so that we could get larger tires on our frames. We've maxed out at about 47 mils, and for a lot of the riding that we've been doing, that 47 mil tire has been more than enough. We're running pressures of about 25 psi, which means that our ride is reasonably forgiving, reasonably comfortable, even on the most unforgiving terrain. You might want to check out some of our experiences at the Trans Rockies Gravel Royale this year. The other thing that you might want to consider when you're buying your gravel bike is making sure that the rims that come with the bike are compatible with tubeless tires. Catherine and I have been running tubeless tires from day one, and I've never regretted running tubeless. It means a more comfortable ride, and we've never had a problem with the tubeless tires. Weight isn't everything in gravel cycling. Again, make sure that you're getting a bike that sort of suits your needs. Are you looking for a bike for racing, or are you looking for a bike to do weekend bikepacking trips? Look at the construction of the frame. Do you absolutely need a carbon fiber frame? They tend to be lighter and stiffer, but depending on where you're riding, you may want to check out some of the more conventional steel frame bikes. So weight isn't always everything when you're buying a gravel bike. Another really important thing to consider is gearing. When we bought our gravel bikes, we definitely found that the gearing oftentimes wasn't good enough for some of the really steep climbs that we found ourselves doing on many of the gravel rides that we embarked on. We ended up switching out our group set. We've always been riding with a one-by configuration, and I've never regretted riding a one-by. I find it just simplifies things. You're never having to worry about what chain ring to use on your ride. It's obviously only one chain ring. But as I say, we did swap out our group set. We went to SRAM Red, and we ended up getting a cassette that had a much wider range of gearing. Our gearing goes from 10 to 52. And that 52 tooth cassette on the back makes a huge difference. It makes a lot of the climbs that we've encountered that much easier. So definitely consider gearing when you're looking at buying your gravel bike. What kind of riding are you going to be doing? for BC riding, we've often find that we end up on some pretty steep climbs. Some of those Forest Service roads are a lot steeper than any sort of paved road that you might be riding on a road bike. The other thing that you want to look at again, depending on the kind of riding that you're doing, is how many mounts are on your frame. If you're going to be bikepacking, you want to ensure that the frame you're buying has enough mounts on it that you can mount all sorts of bags to store the equipment that you're going to need for your bikepacking adventure. Oftentimes, gravel biking is going to be an all-day adventure, so you want to consider contact points. You want to look carefully at the kind of saddle that you're riding on. Do you want to have a seat post that has a little bit of built-in suspension? Our Specialized Diverges have a carbon fiber seat post with a little bit of give in the seat post itself, which makes for a more comfortable ride. And when you're out on those Forest Service roads for 5-6 hours, that comfort is really important. Look at the handlebars. Do you want flared handlebars? If, again, you're going to be bikepacking and you're going to be mounting a handlebar bag on the front of your bike, you might want to consider a handlebar that has a little bit of flare to give you enough room to put your hands on your bars. The other thing you want to consider is how easy will the maintenance be on your bike. There are some beautiful bikes out there where the cables are internally routed. It makes for a really sleek looking design, but that is just going to complicate some of the maintenance. Take that into consideration when you're buying your bike. Remember, when you're gravel biking, your bike is going to get much dirtier than a road bike ever will. And so maintenance, I think, becomes more important with a gravel bike than with a road bike. The other thing to consider, of course, is your budget. How much money do you have to spend on a gravel bike? You want to find the best bike for your buck. Sometimes first-time buyers underestimate just how much they are going to end up spending on their gravel bike. Make sure you're getting the bike that you want for the price you can afford. Ultimately, fit and feel is the most important thing, more important than any sort of brand name. So make sure when you go to the bike shop that you take a couple of bikes out for a spin. Make sure you feel comfortable on the bike that you intend to buy. You might also want to consider having a professional bike fit done. Again, when you're spending several hours out on a Forest Service road, a really good bike fit is so important. And don't forget that your gravel biking identity might actually change. Once you start going out and exploring Forest Service roads, you might decide that you want to sign up for some races, and maybe you might want a bike that is a little bit more aggressive. So again, just when you buy your first bike, understand that some of your preferences might change as you evolve as a gravel biker. So what kind of a gravel bike are you looking for? What kind of questions do you have about your next gravel bike purchase or your first gravel bike purchase? Please leave a comment, ask a question. Thanks for watching.